Welcome to the Data Dojo podcast, hosted by Adam Massey and powered by the Aurek Group. Every week, we dive deep into the world of data, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. Here, we bring you conversations with the leading minds who are shaping the future of these cutting-edge fields. So get ready to unlock the secrets of data and discover the stories behind the algorithms.
Hi there, and welcome to the Data Dojo podcast. I'm your host, Adam Massey. Now, I have taken a bit of a break recently from doing this. I did get married a few weeks back, but we're actually back with a bang, and I'm really excited about introducing you to this guest today. So this week, I'm joined by Chris Simusokwe. Now, he's the General Manager for the Centre of Excellence for Data Analytics at TPG. Now, for those who don't know, TPG is the second largest ASX-listed telco in Australia. And in this episode, we're going to actually explore some of Chris's own personal journey. He's got a really interesting background. He started out in Zambia and then has actually gone on to now lead data transformation initiatives in Australia. Chris is also going to bring some insights on TPG's data transformation strategy as well, which includes simplifying service plans, digitizing customer journeys, and modernizing the technical landscape there. We're also going to dive into the challenges of balancing things like data governance with business needs, the role of hybrid data architecture, and also some of the future of AI, particularly within the telecommunications field. So without further ado, let's get stuck into the episode. And if you like the content, please like and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Hi, Chris. Welcome to the podcast. How are you today?
Thanks, Adam. How are you?
Yeah, I'm really good. Thank you. I'm good. Thanks for taking the time out to have a chat with me today. I know you've been really busy as well. So obviously you've just taken on that new role as a GM over at the Data Centre of Excellence at TPG. And last week, I think you were speaking at the AWS Data and AI Roadshow. So how's all that been? It's been a bit chaotic?
Yeah, it went really well. It went according to plan and was a real honor as well to be invited by AWS. So thanks to them for inviting me over. We had a good crowd. It was a almost whole day session and my segment as well in the afternoon went really well.
So Chris, what I like to do with a lot of my guests when they come onto the show is to actually sort of talk through their background and how they got to where they are within data. So with your journey, it's actually been very interesting to see you go from different countries across the world to actually end up here in Australia. So I think for our listeners, it'd be good for you to kind of walk us through that journey and some of the challenges you faced along the way.
Yeah, sure, Adam. I started out in computer science back in Zambia. That was my first degree. And I entered a space that was not well known. And it was on the Microsoft stack where I had to, with a good colleague of mine, implement the first SharePoint platform in the country, in Zambia. And so we rolled that out and we rolled it out in a way that it actually delivered business benefits to the company. It was a mining company, newly constructed, and we're looking for a system that could actually process its logistics, marketing and sales process. And we built that on SharePoint. Now, during that process, I was blogging a lot as well. You know, at the time, content creation wasn't a thing. I was just doing it for fun and I was blogging about it. And my readership was mostly coming from outside Zambia. And so I had a very good manager as well at the time that would be exposing us to beyond the limits, beyond Zambia. And we would be exposed to other networks in South Africa. And that's how a couple of years later, I found myself in South Africa working as a consultant on SharePoint, doing workflows and data integrations on SharePoint, both custom as well as no coding type of solutions. And that made me start speaking at conferences. So I started speaking at conferences, started building a name for myself as well. And my tracks were one of those that were very technical, very deep dive. And because of that, it parachuted my career very quickly into becoming an architect. And out of becoming an architect, while still continuing to blog, I took a turn in terms of how I blogged about things. I started blogging more about issues that people encounter when they are designing systems and building systems. And then a lot of readership started seeing that as a solution. Like if you want to learn about how to fix this, go to Chris's blog and the like. Yeah. And And that is what got us out of South Africa, moved to New Zealand. It was a very short stint. So we were in South Africa for about 6 years, moved to New Zealand as an architect in Wellington.
Yeah.
And spent about 8 months there before moving to Australia as an architect.
Okay.
Yes.
And how did you find the differences working in sort of Africa and then coming over to Australia? What were the kind of key differences there?
There were a lot. There's still a lot. Even within South Africa, first of all, I had the exposure of working in Johannesburg versus working in Cape Town. So Johannesburg, very fast paced. Decisions happen very quickly.
Yeah.
Cape Town, very laid back. Everyone is not rushing to make a decision, which means that you can put in a proposal for a solution to a customer when I was in consulting, and it might take long to get an answer, while in Johannesburg, things happen pretty quickly. Moving to Wellington, New Zealand, it was like still in Cape Town, laid back, slow to get things done or slow to get decisions done. But in Australia, Sydney, things picked up, happening very quickly. So there was a similarity in terms of culture working in Johannesburg and Sydney for me. And there was similarity working culture in Cape Town and Wellington, New Zealand. So that's how I found it.
And I guess, for people who might think, actually, I wouldn't mind making a kind of shift like that. How did you actually go about that? Did you have a job lined up for when you come over here? Did you just come out here and start interviewing with different companies? What was your kind of approach to that?
Yeah. So the short answer is I had an offer before moving. So the same thing happened when I was in Zambia. I didn't move without an offer, a job offer, going to South Africa. And the same thing, moving from South Africa to New Zealand, I had an offer while still in South Africa and moved to New Zealand. And the same thing again, I secured the offer. So I didn't move and take a chance or gamble without, securing something to land on in that destination. And the way I approached it was when I was in South Africa, I was selling myself or branding myself as part of the ANZ community or ANZ market.
Okay.
And so that when the opportunity came up, I was ready.
Yeah. Excellent. And then when you landed in Australia, obviously, what were your kind of first roles when you came here?
So I was a solution architect for a company called Revolutionising in Sydney, and was there for about 4.5 years. But through that 4.5 years, I had ran its data transformation program, which we nicknamed as DEBI, Data Enabled Business Improvement.
Yeah.
And over a couple of years, it delivered over $80 million in tangible business benefits from data. And so from there on, I was like, this is the area that I want to play in.
And what was the kind of, I think you mentioned before, but what kind of size and scale of teams have you been managing?
So at the moment at TPG, I'm looking after a team size of 30.
Wow. Okay.
Which is the same as what I had at my previous company called Grow Inc., which is financial services. At Grow Inc., I helped build part of the team from scratch. I helped scale it. At Evolution, even before that, it was a very small team. Helped build it. I started out as an individual contributor, as a solution architect, and then promoted into management positions and helped build the team for data and analytics. So team size of about 30 is my exposure so far, but even at TPG Telecom, where I am right now, I was very early on in joining the team. So I was part of a great leadership team that helped build the Center of Excellence that I currently lead.
And that's all cross-function as well. So we're not just talking engineers, we're talking data scientists, all this kind of stuff as well.
100%. Yes. So the Data and Analytics Center of Excellence, which I'm currently leading has data science, has data engineering, has analytics product and data governance, and then has analytics delivery and business partnering.
I guess, with this sort of role you're doing at the moment, perhaps you can sort of walk us through TPG's data transformation journey and what's driving that kind of change in that business at the moment.
Yes, I think there are 3 things to look at it from. There are 3 angles you can look at it from. For us, it's about how we can simplify our service plans and products that we give our customers. That's number 1. We're a telecommunications organization, and it's really important that we simplify the service plans and products we give our customers. Number 2, it's about digitalizing our customer journeys. We want to improve customer experience. But you can't do all those things, number 1 and 2, without looking at your tech stack. And so that's where number 3 comes in, to modernize our tech landscape. So it's out of those 3 objectives that our data transformation journey has been born. Yeah.
Excellent. Obviously, with the conference you did, I think you mentioned in there that 80% of strategic initiatives require modern analytics capabilities. So I guess what are the kind of biggest challenges in making that kind of stuff happen?
The biggest challenges are, I think, in terms of how you approach it. For me, I'm glad that we are approaching it business-led. Huge support from the technology team who actually appreciate such programs to be successful, that they have to be business-led. So we've had challenges. We're not perfect. We've had challenges, but we've been learning quick. We've been learning fast. We trial a lot of proof of concepts, not just on the tech, but we would trial ways of working. And if it doesn't work, we pivot. We consider pivoting as a feature and not a bug, So we pivot a lot, and so what we did was we approached it with what I refer to as business back over tech forward. Yeah. So what that means is we start with a business lens, set up the capabilities right. We've had a goal at previous iterations at this to set up capabilities, and we've improved over time. And now with the COE, the Center of Excellence, I think we've done it right. And the COE being the business owners of the data transformation program, and the COE being in the business or close to the business where revenue is generated is key. Then once that is set up, then we look at the challenge around setting up the processes and governance. And only after that, then we look at setting up the tech. So there's an approach to it. In some of organizations that I had previously worked for as well, we could approach it from bottom up, tech, then process, then business. At TPG, we are successfully doing that through business, then process, then tech.
Yeah. I think quite a lot of companies actually struggle to know where to put a data analytics team. They kind of sometimes see them as just pure technology and IT, when in fact, actually the impact they have on the day-to-day operations of a business is paramount. So I think companies do struggle on how to label a person and put where they need to put them in that organizational fit.
Yeah. Look, there's no one size fits all. Every organization is different. For us, what works at this stage of our journey at TPG is that, the Center of Excellence is well positioned closer to the business, so that it also has the business remit. In some organizations, it depends on, who they service, what their customer is looking for, what their products are. In some organizations, a data team can start off in tech, and maybe there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
So it's about fit for purpose.
Okay.
I think that's key.
Yeah. And I guess something that from our previous conversations you've mentioned before is that people and processes matter more than the technology. I guess with that, how do you get buy-in across the business when you're talking to them?
Yeah. When we are talking to the business, obviously, first of all, we've set up the capability. When we're getting into the people and organization or the process side of things, we tend to assume that at that stage, the business case has been endorsed.
Yep.
And then when you look at process and governance, we are thinking about what are the ways of working that will work for our people. We do not want the tech to make us change the ways of working. We want the tech to conform to our ways of working. So process, thinking of it from that angle. And then there's best practices as well. What are the industry best practices that we should adopt, but not a lift and shift? We have to make them custom to the way we want to work as a business. We've got customers we want to save. Out of those 3 key objectives I mentioned at the start, one of them is digitizing our customer journeys. So if that's priority for us, then we have to make sure that whatever we implement actually conforms and works around our preferred ways of working. So that's really key for process. Then there's a governance piece as well. For example, if you look at data governance, you can have the best tech stack, but if your data is of poor quality, your tech stack won't be trusted, your tech stack won't be used. And doing things transparently in the business, securely and transparently within the business, ensures that whoever is going to adopt what we build will trust how their data was treated. So that is all part of the process that we define through that stage.
Yeah. So I guess, balancing governance with those business-led innovations, that's obviously a common struggle for most organizations and leaders. I guess what's your kind of approach to that?
There is always going to be a challenge. I think you have to show, if you can quantify the benefits, you have to show value. And I think you would get everyone's attention if you can actually show value. And it's not just for the sake of showing it, but can you actually even realize that value? You have to show that, yes, this is pragmatic. This is how we are going to deliver it. And this is when it will land. I think that's what will get you over the line with the business.
And with TPG, I just kind of want to talk maybe a little bit more about the kind of technology that sits behind some of the work you guys are doing over there. So obviously, one thing I learned from your presentation was that you chose a hybrid data architecture. And I was just interested why you took that approach and how you believe that has improved the stuff you're doing in the team.
Yeah, look, so for us, we're a regulated organization, TPG. We're in telco, and I think this is a challenge for every other organization that is regulated, that you have to move at a certain pace, to make meaningful change. And you also have to think about how you get quickly to where you want to get. So there's a balancing act between, how can you move through the process quickly enough to get to what you want to get, but how can you also ensure that what's holding you back doesn't hinder your success? So what I mean there is you can start, and most organizations, including TPG, have started off in a centralized manner. If you look at our tech stack, centralized, but then everyone in the industry and part of best practice approach to empower the business is working towards a federated approach. Federated approach is something that most people will also refer to as the data mesh, that concept. And so if you want to leapfrog to federated approach, that's well and good, but being pragmatic is key. Pragmatism is one of our principles. And for us, when we look at what's pragmatic, is that it will be too disruptive to just leapfrog to the federated approach. And so coming up with a hybrid approach where we move with the maturity of the business is what works, where we combine centralized and federated approach, where the data producers are catered for and the data consumers are catered for. The business is empowered while the rest of the tech stack is also empowered to perform at its best and bring the organization on the journey. So that is the balancing act that has helped us land successfully with a design that is hybrid.
And out of interest, how much information and data are you guys kind of dealing with at the moment?
I don't have details on that in terms of petabytes or terabytes, but it's a lot. I mean, as a telco organization, metadata around connection, metadata around data on the phones is a lot.
Through all of the networks that you have.
Through all the networks, through all the towers, there's a lot of metadata we capture. And this is metadata that you can even see on your phone, like the start of your call, the end of your call, the duration of the call, and all those things. But that's just from a comms perspective. There's also a lot of data that we look at in terms of customer experience, because one of our goals is to ensure that we are improving customer experience. How effective are the service plans and products that we are giving our customers who we are privileged to have? There's a lot of data around that we would augment and make sure that we are providing what is right for the customer, the service that they need from us. So yeah, a lot. And it goes through a lot of systems for us to filter and clean it up to generate the insights so that we can go back and deliver a better service.
And I'm guessing there's challenges as well with a company the size of TPG. If you're going through acquisitions, you're taking on new systems and new data, and you're trying to then bring all that together. I guess that's a huge challenge for you guys.
Yes. So this is part of our modernization journey, where we have gone through a series of very successful mergers and acquisitions over the years, and we're really proud of that. What that has meant is that we have also inherited a lot of systems. We have inherited a lot of service products and plans. And so part of our rationalization goal is to, make them be fit for purpose, and ensure that our tech stack is streamlined. You can't easily digitize your customer journeys if you've got multiple journeys that you have inherited and are not really talking well with each other. So streamlining that is key, but that's a tech stack we inherited. Now we are modernizing it onto on AWS and other services, and that's what's going to achieve us the third goal that I talked about, modernizing our tech stack.
Excellent. And I guess at the moment, a common thread I find with most organizations, particularly with the focus on things like AI and ML kind of innovation, is being able to scale those solutions, maybe take them from proof of concepts and actually make them into meaningful things that can be used. So I guess what are the biggest barriers and how can you kind of overcome that when you're looking at these kind of innovations?
So we don't do AI or ML or advanced analytics just for the sake of doing it. We first of all want to understand the business problem we want to solve. That's really important. Everyone can experiment. Everyone can build data pipelines or machine learning models. Success comes when they are put in production, because that's where usage happens. That's where it benefits the business and the business users, and leading into customer experience benefits as well. So for us, we have to make sure that the ops piece, whether it's data ops, whether it's ML ops, or in future AI ops, works with best practices. We want to be able to have that level of confidence that this will work in production. And how we do that is through the ops frameworks, data ops or ML ops, having those in place, having the right systems that can adopt those practices. Yeah.
Excellent. And I guess looking to the future, I was just interested to get your take really on where you see kind of data-driven decision making and also AI taking the kind of telecommunications industry.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in this space. I'm not surprised. AI being part of this conversation. It's now in every home. Everyone's talking about it. But if you really think about it, AI didn't just land in the last 2.5 years. AI has been there for a while, and it's just matured. I think in the last 2.5 years, it's only become more accessible through generative AI. But machine learning has always been there for a while, and natural language processing has always been there for a while as well. What we see, and this is not TPG's perspective, but this is industry experts, even the likes of McKinsey are talking about this, that there's a lot of benefit that can be derived coming out of customer experience, improving customer experience. But there's also benefits around productivity. How can we improve our internal processes that help also improve customer experiences? So there are lots of opportunities in which we see AI being beneficial to a telco, but also making sure that it's done ethically. I think responsible AI is top priority for anyone that wants to enter into this space.
And I guess, responsible AI is kind of a key focal point at the moment. Like I said, it is a little bit like the Wild West in some areas. So I guess the regulation and stuff needs to kind of evolve as fast as the capabilities are growing.
Yeah. Look, that's one point where it's going to be hard, I think, where there is a chance. I mean, look at how things have evolved in the last 2.5 years since OpenAI launched ChatGPT. So there is a chance that this space can evolve very quickly, quicker than policies that anybody can think of, And there is also a chance that, does everyone have the ability to upskill quick enough or even match the pace at which AI is evolving? So there are those things to think about, but it's not a bad thing if you're not at the forefront. Like for us, we're not aspiring to be the inventors of this space.
Yeah,
we are happy to learn from those that have gone before us and improve. And we are not the first to approach it from that angle. Even in my previous organizations, we were happy to be fast followers.
Yes.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And I've seen it at Apple as well. A lot of AI features that we see in Apple, they are not the first to do them. But when they do them well. So for me, the team at TPG, it's not about being the first, but it's about doing it well when we do it with high quality, in a trusted manner, in a responsible manner that actually delivers on customer experience.
Excellent. Well, Chris, it's really been great having you on the episode today. Thank you for your time. I guess for those who want to find out a bit more of you, connect with you, all that kind of stuff, what's the best way they can go about doing that?
Very easy. chrissimusokwe.com and everything will be there.
Excellent. So what I'll do is I'll put some links to that in the show notes as well. If you've enjoyed the episode, please like and subscribe so you don't miss another one. And we'll be back next month with a new episode for you. So yeah, have a great day, everyone. And thanks for your time. Cheers, Chris.
Thanks, Adam.